We'll do 444 Granite Street, notice of intent filed by the City of Quincy. The applicant proposes demolition of existing school and other associated buildings on site, construction of one school building, parking lots, landscape areas, hardscape areas, and driveway per plans. Resources borderland subject to flooding, and this is the Sterling Middle School.
Yes. Hello, my name is Brian LaRoche. I'm with PCA 360. I'm the owner's project manager representing the City of Quincy on this project. So this is the new Sterling Middle School, which will replace the existing. The new will be built at the same time that the existing is in place. There's going to be several phases that go on. The rear of the existing school, the first phase, the gym and the locker rooms are going to be taken off, and a portion of the building, which will allow us the room to build the new, which will be set right fairly tight to the existing, and then at the toe of the hill at that site. So just stay outside of the floodplain. So this project's been in the works now for about 2 years with the city. It's something that the mayor's very proud of. It's funded by the MSBA through a grant program. So we're working our way through finalizing the documents and getting pretty close to the start of construction, which will be this summer. Our plan is once the kids get out of school, begin the process of taking apart the old. It'll be about a 2-year project before it's all said and done when the students return in September of 2019. So we have PAR Engineering, which is our civil engineer, here tonight to present the plans to you. But I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know I'm here if you had any questions, sort of general in nature to the project. Introduce yourself.
Sure. So, Lindsay Mockamer, like Brian said, I'm here with PAR Corporation. We're the civil engineer of record for the project. So I'd like to just give you an overview of the project. So they summarize the existing conditions, explain a little bit of the design process we went through, and describe the proposed impacts, including impacts to the floodplain. So just to start off, is this a good position for the plans to be here? You all set? Okay. So we have an aerial of the site. The property line is shown here in red. The site is a little less than 4.5 acres total area. And just to orient you, we've got Granite Street to the west here and Robert Street to the east. And then there's 2 side streets that come down to the site, Grossman Street and South Junior Terrace, that come onto an on-site driveway along the northern property line. So primarily surrounded by residential properties and Kincaid Park over to the east. So the current site layout, we've got the existing school building up pretty close to Granite Street here. And if you're familiar with the site, there's a pretty significant grade change across the site from east to west. We're 25 to 30 feet lower on this portion. There's a pretty big drop off along the back of the school. So in the rear of the site, you've got an existing bituminous track, the driveway I mentioned, and a little basketball court there. The impervious area on the site is a little less than 50% of the area is impervious in the existing conditions. Generally, the way the site drains today, it follows the topography. So from east to west, it drains overland and partially to on-site catch basins, to subsurface drains, which connect to 2 points in Robert Street. There's a drain main in Robert Street. So our analysis point in considering drainage design was at this corner of the property here in the main in Robert Street. In terms of other utilities, the current building is serviced by town water and town sewer and gas and electricity. So some of the investigations we did to do our due diligence on the site included a traffic impact analysis, environmental site assessment phase 1, geotechnical investigations, and investigations for wetlands, at which time we determined that there was a bordering land subject to flooding on the site with the 100-year flood elevation at elevation 29. So most of this portion of the site from the bottom of the slope eastward is within that floodplain.
So the main building is not within 360?
Correct. So just to give you elevation, so 29 is the floodplain elevation. The current building, finished floor or of the main floor, is set at elevation 56. So that's where we are. To our proposed site plan. So this is This is the site plan, same orientation. We've got Granite Street to the west here and Robert Street to the east. The existing building is shown with a red outline here for your reference. And the floodplain line is shown in the dark blue here. So the proposed layout, we've got the new building here. And as Brian mentioned, there's going to be a little bit of a phased construction process that happens. So most of the existing building will stay in place while the new one's being constructed. So we're tucking it between that floodplain line and the existing building. In terms of elevations, the finished floor of the lower floor of the building is set 1 foot above the floodplain elevation, so at elevation 30. The lower floor has a walkout onto the Robert Street side, and the second floor has a walkout 28 feet higher onto the Granite Street side. So we're keeping that same, slope across the site. And on the front lawn, we've got a pretty significant grass area out in the front for some recess activities. There will be bus drop-off happening along Granite Street, and there's a little parking area for visitors in the front here. In the rear of the site, we've got an on-site parking lot for staff and faculty, and there is a drop-off loop for parent drop-off. We're maintaining this on-site driveway along the northern property line, but we are planning to improve it with sidewalks and actually a bike lane along the side here. And then there is a grass field for sports and recreation for the students. Utilities are going to be similar in the proposed condition. We've actually been coordinating with the Department of Public Works to make sure we're connecting in the appropriate locations, so it'll still be town water and sewer, and also gas and electricity. Drainage, we have designed in accordance with the Mass Stormwater Handbook. So we have a mix of redevelopment and new development on the site. We have a slight increase in the amount of impervious area we have, about 13,000 square feet. Of course, actually, let me flip to the drainage line. The site was designed to provide the recharge that we needed to match the peak off-site flows for all of the design storms and to provide adequate treatment for the impervious areas. So just to give you a little bit of a summary, the impervious area of this parking lot to the west here drains to an infiltration system that I've highlighted in green. We're taking advantage of some good sandy soils up here where we have really good clearance to groundwater to get the recharge that we need. The parking areas on the east of the site and the driveway here drain to 2 separate fire retention areas, one in green here and one along the southern property line. And those are going to act as filtering systems, so the stormwater will filter through the media to an under drain that connects to the closed drainage system. And the roof area is directed to a closed pipe detention system, which is going to be below grade in this field here, so that we can slow the flows and match the peak flows off-site in our 2, 10, 25, and 100-year storm. So that generally summarizes drainage. Again, we have been working with the DPW, and they've had discussions about the design, and at this point, we understand that we've satisfied their requirements for the drainage design, but we're certainly happy to answer any more questions. And then finally, I'll summarize the flood storage calculations that we did. This is actually the figure that was as attachment 6 in the NOI report. And I actually brought with me here, and I have copies for each of you, a revised version of this plan. And I'm hoping that it will be able to replace the version that is in the report. So there were some minor modifications from the original submission on the 13th to some grading that was right at the edge of the building. But first, I'll summarize what's on this plan for you. It still does meet the requirements of the regulations. So we have shown in each color the area on the site, which is incrementally between each elevation below the floodplain elevation. So we're showing that the flood storage from the existing condition incrementally is matched or increased in the proposed condition. So if it's all right, I'll grab those plans and give you each a copy of this.
There's just a question about that plan there, though. So the, I mean, basically by putting the building on the slope, you're gonna change the entrance to be now at the lower end. This is actually an entrance area here? This will be a driveway?
This here?
Yeah.
Yep, so this driveway, I'm a little confused, but so this driveway we're matching, there is the on-site driveway right now.
Yeah.
We're changing it because we're putting sidewalks along it, but we're generally matching its layout.
But this turnaround area in here, which is in the resource area,
Yep.
is the new entrance to the school?
Yes.
Rather than the front other side?
Well, both have entrances.
Oh.
Yeah.
This will
They're-
be the
The
parking.
main
Yes.
entrance?
Yep, so there'll be the parent drop-off that happens along this driveway here, and there's a walkout from this elevation. And this parking lot is for faculty and staff.
Oh, it's faculty parking.
Yep, and then the upper floor, there'll be bus drop-off here. So this will primarily be the main entrance, but this will function like a main entrance as well.
Okay. And that's in the resource area, the building is not?
Correct.
Okay. And what is you're matching the drainage there by how you're doing that?
How are we matching the
Because
drainage?
it was non-paved area, right?
Yep, so there was some existing paved area. It was not parking area, but it was track, right?
Track.
So in terms of matching the drainage, we're pitching the parking lot that is higher in the center, right? That's where we're moving it up a little bit to either side for treatment in the bioretention area and here and here. So that's primarily how we're handling runoff from this parking area.
Are you guys proposing to replace the athletic fields within the building, or what's going to be there?
We'll be referring to the track.
Yeah.
The track isn't going to be replaced, but there's a larger plan for the city to address that within the fields that are across the street. So that's, but there'll be an activity area at the top and below that can be used.
There's just going to be green area?
Green, that's right.
Yes, yeah. So I have, and I have provided electronic copies. I'm more than happy to provide any other format that you're interested in. But I have a revised grading sheet, which shows the grading impacts, and I've got a revised version of that.
I have a,
We got these, Nora, for, these are the new, showing the AE area, or these were in the, okay.
this is the Granite Street, this is the workers' park.
Well, that's the AE area.
That supersedes the grading. So the drainage concept and elevation and inverts and everything all remain the same.
Part of the entrance up here, part of the entrance down here. That's the way we use the slope.
Has this been in front of the city council?
Yes, it is. In the summer is when the city council approved the project. They approved the funding for it. There's an appropriation of $56 million.
Did Councilor Yang say anything about the numbers of the address?
I wasn't at that hearing, so, but we'll address
I'm a
that.
real
What's the
estate
question?
agent, you cannot sell a number 4 in the city. So if you want Asian children to be going to this school, see what you can do about that front door number.
Point well taken. I know what you're speaking about. Yes, thank you.
But, I mean, we're the only board that really has to approve this because it's a city.
We're working with closely with all the departments, and so yes, because of the floodplain wetland. That's why we're here before you.
Any questions? Yeah? We do have some comments from, is this from your group, from Lindsay?
That's me.
That's you, oh, okay. This is your comments to Lindsay, to the city engineer Chang?
Yes, yep.
That's it? Okay, so we'll circulate those.
Yep. And we've satisfied all of his requirements.
So,
He's accepted all of our answers.
Okay. He's the engineer.
He was the city's reviewing engineer.
Okay, any questions? All right, we'll open up to any questions or comments from the public here.
I just got one question.
Okay, identify yourself.
John Rutherford, 62 Bremwell Road. Is that land, is it in a flood zone? Like, is that an AE flood zone that Sterling Middle School is in right now?
Yes, well, no, so this blue, there is an AE flood zone on the site, so this blue line represents the line. So this portion of the site is not within the floodplain, and this portion of the site is within.
So the buildings are not.
Buildings are not.
So like, is it part of the land to the right, or is it just like a little river or a creek or something?
No, this blue is the delineation between, there's a very steep slope here on the existing site,
Okay,
and it rises up 28 feet from the lower field to Granite Street. So all of this portion of the site is not in floodplain, or the flood zone, but the lower part is.
and what is the floodplain, the BLE of that, what's the flood level?
29, elevation 29.
And you're saying what, you're building the thing basically at 30? I mean, I just think that waters are rising in the city, and I think, you know, we gotta be thinking not 5 years or 10 years from now, but like 30 or 40 years from now, because we're gonna be building a school. I was at all the meetings about this planning. It's $59 million, and it's $458 a square foot is what this is costing the taxpayer, so it's quite a thing. And I guess if, you know, you guys can maybe make sure that they put a school someplace good. I think it's bad enough that we're letting developers build on flood zones. I don't think we're setting a good example as a city that we're putting a school on a flood zone. And, you know, my other concern, I'm not sure if it has to do with conservation, but asbestos, when you're tearing down the other building, especially if school is still going on, there has to be tons of asbestos in that old building. And you know, that's just another thing. I just kind of think it's crazy to literally be doing a project at the same time when school is going on. And you know, they've made a decision, and I guess that's what the Conservation Commission is here to do, to try to see, you know, does it make any sense, you know? And
Well, we won't get involved in the actual construction, we're from the ground down, but you know, the first point back.
We'll be having some community meetings as we get closer to talking about the logistics.
could it be built higher?
And
Or-
we'll be announcing some community meetings. Welcome your input.
Okay.
Well, you'll have time to voice those questions and concerns.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Getting back to the flood zone, we base it on the 100-year plan.
Okay,
So, I mean, we'd have to get a whopper of a storm again, which we get every 30, 40 years. But I know things are rising, but we also have catch basins, and we take rainwater and dispose of that now. So there's ways to help from what the old buildings were to the new buildings.
okay.
Any other questions
Thank
or
you.
comments? Okay, for our purposes, so we've got the comments here from, Lindsay's comment to respect to that'll go in the record. At this point, is a notice of intent, do we have a motion?
Motion to close the hearing and issue the order of conditions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.